Today, we're going to talk about the function that leaves play for plants. And this is part of a larger series where we've talked about the roots, we've talked about the stem, we're going to talk about the flower, and we've talked about the seeds. When it comes to leaves, they are the food factory of the plant. They are where the energy is produced for that plant to continue to grow and produce fruit that you may eat. If this food that they make is stored in the roots or the stem, we typically eat that root or stem. But if it's stored in the fruit, then we would eat that as well. Basically, if it's extra food that the plant makes, we typically eat it, regardless of where it's stored in that plant. Now, when you look at a leaf arrangement, there are several different versions. There are three, actually, and the first is an alternate, which means if you look from the ground up on the stem, you would see one leaf on the left side, and then as you looked farther up, you'd see another leaf on the right side, and then again on the left, and then higher up on the right. That's known as an alternate leaf arrangement. When you get to the opposite leaf arrangement, that means every time you look up the stem of the plant, you would find that there is a leaf on the left and right side of the stem at the same place or same location on the stem. That's known as an opposite leaf arrangement. And then there is the whorled leaf arrangement. And this would be like a spiral staircase where it would go all the way around in a circle on the stem, allowing you to slowly descend or ascend up or down the stem. When we take a look at the leaf and we try to identify its parts, you see that the leaf is not necessarily called a leaf. It's also known as a blade. The blade is the main body of the leaf, and from that blade you will see veins that come out from either side. And this is the framework. This is what holds the leaf open in order to catch sunlight. What holds the leaf or blade to the stem is known as the petole. It attaches the blade to the stem, and then right through the middle of the leaf, the main vein of the leaf is known as the midrib. Other parts of the leaf that you should know about is the very tip of a leaf is known as the apex. The base is where the petole attaches between the stem and the leaf itself. Then there's the margin, which is the edge of the leaf. And just like other parts of the plant, a leaf has an epidermis or skin. And on the bottom, there are opening and closing holes, much like our skin has the ability to open or close and allow water out. This actually is a stomata, and on the bottom of the leaf, you can see with a microscope, the stomatas open and close to allow both water and gas out of the leaf. And then, of course, the part where photosynthesis occurs is known as the mesophyll, and that's the middle layer in between the epidermis. The epidermis would be the skin of the leaf. It's a single layer of cells. It's designed to protect the moisture inside of the leaf, so that way that leaf does not lose its moisture that it's collecting in its roots as it's soaking in the sun. These guard cells that we talked about with the stomata, they open and close. They're tiny little pores, much like you have on your skin, that allow you to sweat when your body gets too hot. These pores will open and close underneath the leaf to exchange both gas and water. The stomattas. It's the breathing aspect of the plant. It's what allows the plant to transpire or give off moisture. In the middle, you have the chloroplast, and the chloroplast contain the chlorophyll, and that's how there's going to be food made, through the chlorophyll that is green inside the chloroplast. So the most important functions of a leaf is photosynthesis and transpiration. In photosynthesis, the plant takes all of the nutrients and water that it's absorbed through its roots, and then it produces food with it. In transpiration, there is a loss of water and an exchange of carbon dioxide. So there is some water that leaves the leaf, but in exchange for that, it absorbs some carbon dioxide from the air. Photosynthesis is the process in which it absorbs, the leaf that is, absorbs the CO2, the carbon dioxide, and the water that's in the presence of the roots and absorbed up through the stem to the leaves. And then when it's introduced to the chlorophyll and the chloroplast, it is going to convert it into a sugar, and oxygen is going to be released. So the sugar becomes a food, the oxygen becomes something that is released from the plant, allowing us to breathe it, and that food is manufactured in the leaves. And then it can be stored, and it can be stored in the stem or the roots, or it can just be used by the plant. If the plant is in a position where it needs that food, it's going to use it, and if it doesn't need it, it's going to store it. And if it stores it, some likely places that it could store it would be the stem or the root or the leaves itself. And they can store it in a form of a sugar or starch or protein. And all of those things are why we can get sugars or starches or proteins from plants, because it's something they produce through photosynthesis when they take the water they've absorbed and the nutrients that they've absorbed, and they introduce it to the chloroplast and allow it to take photosynthesis process in sunlight. Now, the shapes and the size of the leaves are important too, because this is the way in which plants identify themselves. If you think of the fact that we have fingerprints, we have the tips of our fingers where we can identify each individual human. Leaves are the fingerprints for the plants. When you look at a plant's leaves, is how you will identify it from being different from another plant. On the very edge of the leaf is known as the margin, and these also help in the identification of the plant. So every plant has a different type of leaf, and each leaf's margin or edge of that leaf and its outline allows you to better identify that plant. All right, that'll do it for today.